And for part 14 of the XC restoration, I'd like to acknowledge the support and recommend two small businesses located at 4 Yallourn Parade, Ringwood, for which I'm a frequent customer for all work on the modern cars in my immediate and extended family. Special thanks to Peter Raymaker's Motors, which is a family-owned business that's been at the top of its game since 1982. It was founded by Peter Raymakers himself and is now run by his two sons, Michael and David. I worked with Michael at a Toyota dealership where he left to work for his father, and of course they were sorry to see him leave. I, on the other hand, was sacked for explaining to a manager why he was an inept moron. I suppose you call it insubordination. David, like me, is a VACC mechanic, and that's where the similarities end. Without any exaggeration, there's little to be known on such a vast array of modern vehicles that he's not aware of. So your car's in wonderful hands with Michael and David Raymakers, with incredible combined experience that you won't find at a dealership, and with no chance of junior trade assistants gaining experience on your car. Special thanks also goes to Alex, who runs several auto electrics. Now, I'm capable with automotive electricals, but this guy's a magician. He'll have anything from 1950s Cadillacs to a new BMW in his care with nothing he's not able to nut out. I frequently visit Alex for advice and he's always delivered. I've given him old and very odd electrical items which he's always managed to resurrect to full health. Also, if you require a battery for your vehicle, you must pay a visit, and he'll supply you with a unit far superior to the competition and with a better warranty. And I know that because I bought many batteries in my automotive career. For all repairs automotive, you must visit Michael, David and Alex, where you'll find the quality and satisfaction of work from these three absolutely second to none. Welcome to part 14 of the XC restoration. Yesterday I think I introduced it as the XW restoration, and I still get my wires crossed with that. And this one's purely about some of the fitting out work I've done. It's only a day later since I released the other one, but I didn't want to release them because it was going to be too long. So there won't be another one for about a month or so after this, I assume, because I've got to save up, get a few parts and get a heater core and, I don't know, rear axle, you name it, I've got to get it. And to be honest, I'm actually quite excited about how it's turning out. Well, the first thing you normally do when you assemble a car, or reassemble a car, is to, I've got an asking there, is to put the wiring loom in, or basically plumb it and wire it. But I'm going to do things a bit differently here. And the first thing I'm going to put in is the battery tray. No, it goes this way. It goes that way. I think. I've got to make sure that these don't sit proud of that ledge there, because these probably aren't the right bolts. This car didn't have a battery tray in it before when I bought it. And I'm interested in, it's a bit too long, but making sure that that level there is the battery, because if it doesn't, that'll wear into the case. And of course the reason I put that in first before anything else is because I can just put my tools there. It's a good tool stand. Sometimes with these things, it's better to put these on first, because they can be sort of tight. Once you get the spring in, they can be really hard to get in, right? So you have to knock them in with a screwdriver on the XW, because that spring saddle there almost seems to push up against the top of the shocker tower with the extra stress. But I'm putting these in now, gets them off the bench and gives them a bit of a purpose. These can just sit here for now. There's no real point to putting them on, but gets them out of the way. I need some 5/16 washers, lock washers too. I had a whole lot and I can't find them. I don't want to scratch everything. I've got my stuff ready to go here. These engine mount plates normally didn't have a flat washer in the top. These are the original fasteners for it, which I had plated. And I always put a flat washer on. Now, the sway bar on the front of the XW was the same. The front mount here didn't have a flat washer, and I didn't put one of those in. And I've always hated the way it looks. So I'm just going to start securing these. I can't, it's awkward. I'm trying to make it so you can still see. I can't tighten up the back though, because the power steering lines come here, and there's the brackets that go on which I haven't had plated yet. There's another one of those things I was talking about. These wires that went into my knee. So, whoops, I'll go and secure these, and the back ones I probably won't need a flat washer, because they'll have the lines which have the sort of clamp thing on them with the rubber bush that comes up here. And so we'll go ahead and just put them there anyhow. purists won't like the flat washers, but it means it doesn't chafe here, and I think it looks better. Right. I've got this booster. This little guy here, and I had this overhauled. I don't know what thread that is. I think it's 3/8 course. Yep, it is. And of course this holds the pedal box in as well. Now, the only thing that worries me a bit about these is that's adjusted right, and I think this is to fixed size, so it doesn't really matter that much. And I've got the booster that goes over. Now I'm not really ready to put steering boxes and stuff in yet because I haven't got the coupling or anything for it. But given that the wiring goes around the front of this, I think on the XWs and XYs it goes behind it, but on these it goes in the front. And it's probably going to be easy putting this on first. Just want to make sure that everything looks as though it's going to fit. So that would be the top. And it just goes straight in, I imagine. So theoretically speaking, I should just be able to bang this in. There's also a foam block I've got to find that runs around the back of it. Some cars have a gasket or a shim between the booster, because this isn't sitting flush, but it might need that little bit of preload there. I'll look into that, but at the moment I'm not that fussed about it. We're just doing a bit of preliminary assembly. Eey, don't roll away. So I'm not convinced I like the fit. But, well, it fits alright, but it just seems to have a little tiny gap on this area here, so I don't like the idea of moisture getting into here and rusting it, so I might make a little gasket for it. And I always keep some of this oil jointing, which is dirt cheap and very thin, so it shouldn't be detrimental to the pin length or anything like that. And so I'll just cut a bit of this out and I'll make a little gasket for it. And so I've just done that. I'll mark around here. And you can just cut it out. It's not absolutely necessary. I just want it to just be a good car and avoid any of those horrible shortcuts that people take. Now look, this will probably do nothing, but it might also save it from getting a little bit of corrosion or something we don't want in there. And I wanted to put this in, and then I can put the pedal box and everything in. So that can just be nipped up. Job done. Cool. That canister's just turned up. I had that buried as well. I'm not sure if I sort of illustrated where I've taken the deadener to. I've done it the same as the XW. I've just made a tape line and sort of did up till there. I haven't done the two legs down there for the gearbox. I'm going to clean those up, haven't cleaned them off yet, and brush paint them. And I'm also going to brush paint underneath the caster rod housings and just underneath some of the front end stuff, because I want to minimise the risk of overspray. We're just about to put our pedal box together. I've just got a bit of Scotch-Brite and I'm just going laterally along it, or longitudinally, I don't know what the proper term is. I'm just looking for stepping and stuff like that. There's a couple of marks there, but it's not too bad. So this shaft is going to be okay to reuse. And again, this was donated to me by Paul Harker, which was very, very kind of him. So that's going to be fine to use. There's the little sleeve, and of course we have new bushes to put in, so we can do all of that right now. So I've got a bit of HTB, high temperature bearing grease, and we've just got these new bushes, and we'll just lubricate the inside of them. I might put a bit on the outside just to stop them chafing, but you probably don't need to. And they can just slide in. Now, you don't need to pack this with grease, you just need a bit, because we'll put some on the shaft as well. So Just got to remember how this goes. I'm looking at it upside down. I'll put a bit of grease on here. Not too much because it'll just catch and lose all up to one end. So just bang that through. And you can see it already gathering there. So I probably wasted my time doing that. But anyway. And the pedal. We just want to grab the pedal, and I've got a nice new pedal pad on there. I'm just going to go into that bush. It's quite tight. It's probably too tight. What's going on? Just give it a little tap. I've got to get this little sleeve in here. I'll just put a bit of grease inside so I can catch it on the way through. And then we're poking through the other end. So now, of course, it's fairly straightforward. We'll get our clutch pedal. Again, we have a nice new pedal pad there. And just lubricate in here. Now the clutch one was slack last time because one of these bushes had broken off and was gone. It was sort of absent, if you know what I mean. So with any luck, that problem, I just need to get further in here, that problem will be alleviated now. Take two, that will just slide over there. Oh, there. I'm still having issues, so let's give it a bit of a tap. And it's sort of poking through. I might just get a socket or try and push that back. Oh, there we go. Great. So for now we'll just put this on. It might need a flat washer. Not entirely sure. Now all I need to do is I'll put that brake switch in, because on the XW it was actually quite difficult to get in later, but there we go. Reconditioned pedal box. Right, I'm going to drop this in now. And I just made a mistake before. You've got to have these tongues from the pedal box poking through there before you put this little guy in. It's a bit different from the XW. I'm just worried about this corner here scratching. Shocker tower. I'm just going to put that rag behind there, let it sit there, and then I can sort of nip it up from the other side. So I've just put that little sort of spacer in there for the brake pedal, and I can start putting, oh, the lighting's very good in here, these nuts on to hold the booster, and the bottom one's independent and the top two go through the pedal box. So I'll get these on, there's another one up there, start nipping them up and it should be good to go. I just chucked a bit of black paint over the studs, and this should go straight in. Oh, the boot's catching. Whoops. And then we can just sort of fix this down. This one's a bit tricky to get to. Battery tray's been really useful there. This is probably a bit of a fail, because I don't know if you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just putting these little torque box covers back on. Just going around putting bits and pieces on, or back on the car, that just the fiddly small stuff that sort of completes the job. And you know, this, it does look an awful lot like the XW, this car, the way the colour schemes and the way I've done things, but that's all good. Right, yeah, so we can feed this through, hopefully. Actually that goes, I think this goes under and then in. And I'm not sure how much of that goes in the cabin and how much of it stays out. But that just squeezes in somehow. I have to use a screwdriver. And then we can sort of route it the way we need to. So I'm not all that certain which way this, I think it comes down like that. I need to have a look at another XC, or how much of this sits in the cabin, how much of it's in the engine bay, so I need to have a look at another car. Oh, that's the wipers. So I'm tipping that goes back further, it's back like that. I think that's probably more how it goes. And that's clipped up there for the neutral start on the auto, and the thingo for the manual. That's your V8 oil pressure gauge. And I think this comes around here. There's the brake fluid one, which I haven't taped up, that can go on there. And I'll just clip this along the outside until I'm ready to do something with it. This will just sort of hold it so I don't stand on it while I move around the car. I just want to get sort of, I should roll this bit up now. I just want to get it to the point where everything's sort of sitting there waiting for me as I need them, and then it sort of makes the job a lot easier. And it makes it more fun too. This is actually quite fun doing this. Wiring scares people. I've never worried about it too much. That's why if I get bamboozled, I was going to see Alex, which is why I recommended him, because there's nothing that guy doesn't know. So I reckon that'll do for now. That's cool. I'm alright with that. So just attending to a few bits and pieces. There's these floor plugs. I've only got 4 of them because the other 2 are currently being electroplated, and these came out that way with this raised section up the top. And I don't know why Ford have done that, because it means if there's an oil leak, or a water leak I should say, then water's going to pool to the depth of that. So I'd have thought it made better sense this way. And the other thing is, I probably should have left a mild steel, because then that would become sacrificial. So if it was just mild steel, it was unpainted and unprotected, it means this is going to corrode first before anything else if water gets in. So that's, I'm going to put them this way, which is probably deemed as incorrect, but I don't care, and seal them up around there. But that's what we're doing at the moment. I've got this accelerator pedal now, and the new one bolt comes with a bit of Loctite sort of already in there. Bushwise, I've just used a clutch pedal bush and cut it down, just to take all that slop out. There's a little bit of movement there. That one looks a bit dodgy, but doesn't matter, that's what we do. And these, of course, just slip over. Of course, the screw goes through this side. There's a cutout in the side of the pedal where the screw's meant to go, through there. But these, that way you can get to it in the car. You've got to sort of think, we're doing everything about face here. And we're going to just tighten that down. And that will go right up against the steel part of the accelerator rod. And leave quite a bit of the pin, there we go, we're all the way home. Leave quite a bit of the pin off the edge there. There's a bit of movement, but that's designed so that we can get this spring through. This spring sits behind. These are a pain in the ass to get on. I can never remember how to do it. They go around the lever, whoops, and then over the pin like that. And so it gives you that spring-loaded feel on the pedal, but it can be gotten off by just sliding off into that pin, but it's held by that loop over the rod itself. So that's what gives you that nice spring-loaded feel. So we can put that in now. Got those little suckers in for the radiator. This is probably a better view of the underside. I did it yesterday and filmed it, and it looked like there was big gold spots on it. Oh, my wheels are caught. And it was the light reflecting off that deadness. So, and this also looked like it had a big shiny spot. There's a discoloured spot there you can see, but that doesn't matter. This is where I got it a bit too thick, I think. I've just put those in. That's the hanger for the rear brake line. And there's also some that go here for the rear sway bar. I haven't put those in yet. But, yep, there you go. And under the arches, and it's all looking pretty good. So I just thought it looked a bit crummy on the video yesterday, but it's I am very happy with it. And of course, looking under the parcel tray, you can see, well, actually, I'm hoping you can't see where I joined it, and I've joined it under the lip of this reinforcement member here. So the idea of that was the new one's welded in, and you're not supposed to be able to tell from underneath, which is where the roadworthy examiners always look. Right, well, the next thing we're going to look at is pretty dirty and pretty horrible, and that is the heater box. And this thing looks like it's been dragged out of a paddock bomb, which it probably has. I suppose the first thing, in an effort to preserve parts, is to take the fan resistor out and see what that looks like. So with this not connected at all, you've got full speed. With that one connected, it's probably third, second, and the whole thing connected first speed. So I don't know even know if it's a 3-speed fan, but we'll pull that out and we'll take the cover off and have a bit of a look. A bit of a road test. See if she works. It's drawing current. Might pull the motor apart and see if I can lubricate. Taking these clips off here, you've got to be really careful you don't crack the case. And so if they don't move easily, they burn and ship and do it a different way. And we'll just take them off. I'm expecting all the webbing and the, what do you call it, the foam against the things to be all sort of destroyed. So we'll put new foams in and we'll just make our own. You never see this thing once it's in the car. You know, at best you see one part of it under the glove box, but the rest of it you don't. So I mean, we can go and get all this stuff replated, but I'm not going to bother. Really, this car should be air conditioned. What I'm doing is essentially quite wrong. Underneath all this muck, this looks to be a very, very good heater box. So I've just taken all the stuff out. Someone's mucked around with that. That screws out on the motor. So I'm going to take that motor apart too. We'll have a bit of a look at that. So, alright, let's go for round 2. Here we go. Yeah. Pretty gross. This feels... yeah, that's too stiff. That might have a knackered bearing or something in it. I just need to ascertain that these holes are correct in the car before I put the sound deadening up. I can redo these. Oh, that's rubber, that's right, that's okay. Well, these got rubber, the XW was all foam. So that's alright, this is actually very resurrectable. Although there was something that sounded like it was rattling around, I've just found it now. It's a coin. And it's 10 cents. So, I'm going to take this out and get it checked out by the guy I normally use. Oh. And it doesn't look that good to me because it's got that green oxidizing around it, and I don't like the way this looks either. So my assessment of that would be that it's absolutely knackered, so I might have to buy a new core, I think. Right, so I've got to have a look at this thing now. And I might just take these blades off. It just looks like a fuel clamp. That's about all it is. And what we can do to take this off is just, whoops, slide it up and down. And that gets the lubricant in, and then it should release. Oh, there we go. Bob's your uncle. Isn't that cool? And we can take these out and then withdraw the motor. There's nothing worse than stuff that's been fiddled with. I hate that. Uh-oh, it's that thing there. Doesn't smell like it's burning, which is a really good thing. Right, so there's a nut on the end of these. But I'm keen to have a look in here just to make sure that the commutator and all that sort of stuff isn't burnt out. So normally what can happen is the brushes that come out against the commutator can be very, very difficult to get back in, but this one might not be so bad. What I want to check on is bearings and that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to take this out. I just want that clean. Cool bananas. Right, and this is good because what I can do now is I can take those brushes back. There's a bloody spider's nest in there. Good, and there's the ball that goes in the back. So that's the rotor. And it swivels on that ball, so that's cool. That's all good. We'll get rid of our little spider's nest, little egg sac. And those look absolutely great, those brushes, so that's cool. Now the other thing with this is the commutator, and the commutator is where we pick up all our electricity off here, off those brushes, positive and negative, and as it rotates, each one of these magnets starts to energize, which pushes it away or toward these stationary magnets in here, and so that makes it spin. Now if the commutator's knackered, you'll get a lot of heat, and not just that, it won't be as efficient. Now the problem with this motor is it ran, but it felt stiff and it was drawing a lot of current. I could feel the split pin getting warm, which means it's fighting something. Now we're fortunate with this because there's no wear, there's no step. Now what you can do, if there's a big step there, is stick that in a lathe and you can cut a new surface onto the commutator, but you only get a small shot at it, so it's not very thick. On the bigger motors, starter motors and so forth, it can be quite thick in terms of the wall thickness of the copper, so you can just do a few passes and it's all good to go. But this one is in really, really good nick, so I'm not at all worried about that. But what I want to do is, it's actually quite a powerful motor. It's got lots of big windings in it, which means it's got lots of torque. I don't want to damage any of the insulation on it, so I've got to be really careful, because otherwise I can knock a whole field off doing that. So I'll just get rid of some of the rough stuff. It'll probably do, I don't know, I don't want to go too far with it. And then come back, and then what we can do is hold these brushes back against those magnets. They just come back, yeah, and we can drop the thing back in. But in the meantime, I'll continue cleaning up here and see where that leads us. I've got a bit of wire around the back, quite thin stuff, just to hold these springs back, which has sort of held them almost enough, and that gives us a bit of room to get in and lubricate that and put the commutator back in. I might just pull it. I'm just a bit apprehensive about pulling it too tight because I don't want to damage anything. So I'm just going to twist that just to give it a little bit more strength. There we go, that's plenty of room, and now I can get in there and lubricate it. And we can drop that ball in, but that ball, it means what we're going to need to do is put the ball in the end here, lubricate it, and then sort of drop that over the top, because we don't want the ball coming out, and that's not magnetic. It's got no way of holding the surface. Whoa, come back. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Oh. Okay, so this might be a little bit hard to find. Oh, we need this so much. We need to find it. I reckon I can, but we're going to have a look now.
Oh, Dad,
look at this. No, but I filmed when I dropped it. I thought it got in there, and I thought it went.
Is it right here, Dad?
Hang on, is it focus? Yeah, that's cool. Can I have it? Oh.
See, I'm your favourite child.
I think this is a piece of popcorn.
Oh, you're one of them. So is she, and so is Charlie.
Nah, I wouldn't say Charlie.
You got popcorn in your crack.
No, this crack.
Oh, I see.
Not my crack.
Good. Yeah, we don't want popcorn in anyone's crack. Anyway, I've just taken that sleeve off there, that circular brass sleeve, and put it back in there and lubricated it. I don't know if that was seated properly before, but now I can do something about putting this back on. Oops, I don't want to lose those thrust washers. So I'll leave that up like that. I might just put a little bit of grease on the end of it, and that should... Oh, there's that ball. God. Let's put a bit of grease in the bottom of that. And then that should hold that ball, which now is dirty. There we go. And when we put gearbox bits and pieces, roller bearings in and that sort of thing, we always use grease to hold them. Righty-ho. So far so good. Now what we need to do now is we need to lower this bell over it. But these magnets here are going to be so strong, we're going to pull that up to attract it. So we need to, hold on, yep. we need to put the shank of a screwdriver down onto the top of that and lower it down, but I need to hold it there. I should get one of the kids to hold it because there we go, and that should be a bit better. I'll give it a road test and see how it goes. These things are kind of kick over, so that's actually a bit of a success because it's a bit freer to rotate. It was very stiff before. Now obviously I pulled the heater box apart to sort of prepare for repairs on it, if that makes any sense. But I also want to see irrefutably which holes are for the heater box. And so I can see there's quite a lot of distance between it and the firewall, so I can use that studded arrangement that I'd made for the canister and prepare to put what do you call it, the deadener up. So that's really quite a long way away. There's quite a lot of space there. Good. Now I can just put a bit of might just put a bit of what do you call it, seam sealer behind there that'll hold it there, and then the canister can go in. Made a bit of a mess of this because the nozzle on the caulking gun's given up, but whenever I do things like this and think it's a bit of a mess, it doesn't worry me that much because Ford would just grot where it came to tidiness is concerned, so I don't get in there. I don't even care that much. Oh, this is what happens when you do it one hand with a camera. Come here, good boy. Oh, hang on. Oh. There we go. So I know now this is only temporary, that I need to make spaces about the thickness of 3 of those 5/16 flat washers, and that will sit. That'll sit right for it being for that to allow for that ridge. Sorry. So that's the wrong type of canister. It's a early one, and there's the front of it. It says it's got an arrow somewhere. No. Where's the arrow? Oh, there's the arrow. So that faces towards the front, but this is an early large one, and that sort of goes in like that. But the later ones are like the XD ones. They're a bit more discreet than that thing. Very premature for doing this sort of thing, but I just want to buff this area here. So I've just got a bit of 2000 wet and dry. And I'm just going to go over just this top bulkhead part. Because I want to put the things back on. Again, you're supposed to block these, but they're so irregular. I'm just using my hand. And I haven't even got my handle attached to this thing. And the pad's all dirty as well. That's my... No, it'll be fine. It's only just to... Oh, it's all filthy. Just give a little bit more there, but I can do that with a hand polish. I might do that. This thing's sitting crooked because I haven't tightened it up yet, but I don't want to tighten it until I make the space. It's got a little bit of finer polish here, or cutting compound. It's only very fine, And I'll just go over the edges, and because I used a very dirty pad, and the reason I used that was because I couldn't be bothered cleaning it after I polished some steel, stainless trims I think, and it left that grey residue, but it's not, it doesn't matter. This is just purely so I can put the tags back on, and it takes, I haven't even rubbed it back properly, I've just used 2000. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And that gives a nice sort of sheen. And if anyone tells you acrylic's crap, well, it's not. Now the only reason I don't go harder with that is because I only really just painted it. But that'll do for now. I just wanted to do that bit. Now I think this is illegal doing this, but these tags are the matching number from there to there on the chassis, and I never took them off. They came with the car, and I'm just putting them back where they belong. So, well, that might not be strictly kosher to do it. It's there's little else I can do because I never took them off. Well, there we go. So our Fairmont GXL now has its identity back. Some of this is wrong though. It is a Fairmont GXL. It's a manual, but it's not a 302. It's not ochre, and it's not, what's that one? Sweet cream. So, end of the day though, you can see it's an original V8 car, and you can see what it's supposed to be. But I wanted to get those on because they came in a plastic bag, and it was a mess before. But now it sort of has its little pedigree back. So that's it for the next 3 or 4 weeks, probably a month. I'm in a bit of trouble with the wife. She went shopping, got a big load of big trolley full of stuff, then realised at the checkout that I had her card, and so I'm in the bad books at the moment. Now I am going to have to paint in here after all, so I have to eat my hat there because I don't want any white showing sort of from the back side to the inside of the screen, and so I'll run it the way the factory was, halfway up that A-pillar. I'm just trying to keep my finger still there. And I'll do that at the same time as the sills when I work out exactly how to paint them. Neil sent me a photograph and it looks like the sills are painted right up to the top. I'm just not sure. I couldn't see very clearly in the photograph, so I'll have to sort of research that now. Oh, that's the bit of polishing I did there on the bulkhead. Not certainly not expert, but at the end of the day it took me about 5 minutes to do that, so it's not a big deal. So this car is no longer a surface rusted sad old case sitting outside Ray's shop. It's fast becoming the belle of the ball. And in the next video we've got to sort out the wiring on this dashboard. There's a couple of bits around somewhere like this. I think that's a power antenna, I'm not even sure what that is, don't know, don't care. Got to sort that out. And I want to hang this in the car and also finish off what I was doing with the heater box, that sort of thing. So, thanks very much for watching. Enjoy your classic, drive safely, and I'll see you later. Ta-da!